Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Kroll. David, the odd man out, didn't wear a suit jacket today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Directors meeting of the Indian Wells Valley Water District. Regular board meeting for Monday, December 8th, 2025. We're going to call this meeting in session at 4:30 p.m. Let's see. Director Kaczynski, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
And over your hearts, please follow me. I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
President St. Amand,
Aye.
Vice President Griffin,
Yes.
Director Boyd,
Here.
Director Kaczynski,
Here.
Director Rotora.
Here. Posting of agenda declaration.
Today's regular board meeting agenda was posted on December 4th, 2025.
Good, thank you. Conflict of interest declaration.
President St. Amand,
None.
Vice President Griffin,
None.
Director Boyd,
None.
Director Kaczynski,
None.
Director Rotora.
None. Thank you very much. Item 6, public questions and comments on the closed session. There are no members of the public present with us. We have one person online. Do they have any comments or questions? Okay, doesn't look like they do. So we're going to go ahead and close the open session at 4:31 and open the closed session here probably about 4:35. Thank you. Thank you. All right, no open mic accidents, gentlemen. I assumed she would not have one of those. Or Renee for that matter. Okay, very good. We have closed the closed session and we're now reopening the open session at 6:01 PM. Jim,
Yes, the board met in a closed session. There was no action taken that requires disclosure. That's all.
thank you. Item 8, public questions and comments. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on the agenda and over which the board has jurisdiction. However, no action may be taken by the board of directors on any item that does not appear on the agenda. Non-agenda speakers are asked to limit their presentation to 5 minutes. Public questions and comments on items listed on the agenda will be accepted at any time the item is brought forth for consideration by the board. When you're recognized by the chair, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
I have a comment. My comment is about the last groundwater authority meeting. I realize it's on the agenda. It's not about the actions taken. Your representative, David Saint-Amand, did an excellent job presenting what you asked him to. However, you had another member present. It was Ron Kaczynski, who was in the audience, who unfortunately spent most of the time talking. He talked to whoever he was sitting next to. He got up several times, went across the room, and talked to Josh Nugent, who was sitting several rows behind me. I found that his performance of this continual conversation was disruptive, rude, and childish, and very unprofessional, and was very disappointing.
All right, well, thank you for your comment. Is there anybody online that would like to make comments or questions? All right, then we'll move on to item 9, general manager's compensation.
We have one.
Oh, of course, go ahead, please, caller.
Hello there, this is Mike Sanat. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
I want to make a suggestion and spread a little positivity during this Christmas season. My suggestion is that the water district do a little different old school type of PR and marketing and prepare a nice little glossy handout that can be also mailed in bulk to water district customers as well as residents of the city of Ridgecrest. And I would like you to point out all the things you've done to get us to this point, including conservation, joining the adjudication action, which was absolutely necessary, projects that you're looking at, and lobbying both federal and state officials on water district's behalf and water district customers' behalf. I would point out that the most important factor now that we're facing is the safe yield. And the Groundwater Authority is doing everything they possibly can to avoid determining what the accurate safe yield is on this in this basin. And so you have two things to talk about: the reverse validation action, as well as the adjudication phase 2. In addition, it seems to me that the water district that the Groundwater Authority has boxed itself into a corner. Everybody has been settled, so to speak. The farmers, Searles Valley Minerals, the Navy, and the de minimis pumpers are all pretty much settled. There's no issues. There's only one issue, and that's the safe yield. So as we go into the new year, if you have this nice, pretty, glossy handout, you can lay out the facts and counter the disinformation. I'm so tired of hearing the Groundwater Authority say that we're going to run out of water in 41 years. That's ridiculous. So let's get the facts on paper by the numbers. I would like to see the pumping volumes, current, accurate pumping volumes for all the parties in the basin. I would like to see that information side by side with the technical working group numbers. That was an excellent preparation of the technical working group's numbers side by side comparison with the Groundwater Authority. And I would like to see what you have in the works with potential acquisitions of supply or projects, including, and I'll mention them, something I've heard some rumors about something with regards to Little Lake. I've heard people suggest a swap where you maybe buy a little state water project water and sell it to DWP and let them furnish us some water from their pipeline in return. And all of that would ultimately eliminate the need for any of these discussions regarding the AVEC pipeline. So in closing, I would ask that we do something kind of old-fashioned, a nice little glossy mailer. I think I've pretty much covered the bases. If there's any ideas or suggestions that you have, I'll add those to the list. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other comments from people online? Okay. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, this is Renee West-Lusk. I just have a question regarding, I don't know if this will come up in the adjudication. In the event the Navy needs more than that 2,008 acre feet they've been allotted, what happens if they need much more water than that? We get into some kind of crisis similar to World War II or Korea or something. Does that mean the Navy has to go back to court to get a higher allotment of water? So if they need more than that 2,008 in the future, they have to keep going back to court. That's the impression I got. Can anybody answer that?
Yeah, Jim's going to answer that.
Okay, I cannot give you specifics on what would occur in the future. I will tell you this, that they might have to go to the court, but it's the position of at least those that make up the technical working group that there's such a vast amount of groundwater in storage that if there was another event like World War II or World War III that required the Navy to increase its pumping, that there's plenty of water to take care of that with minimal, if any, adverse impacts.
But wouldn't they still have to get permission to pump that water?
Probably. I can't say yes or no, but probably they'd have to go to the court because they'd be asking. But you got to see what the physical solution might look like. That might actually address that. So, you know, it will be considered, and, you know, we're getting there one step at a time.
I have a comment. Mr. Sanat, I hope you are listening. The de minimis users have not had any settlement to this far.
Okay. Is there anyone else online that would like to make a comment or ask a question? All right, then we're going to go from item 9, we're going to go to item 9, general manager compensation. Who wants to tackle this?
I'll give a quick one. You might recall that George announced last month that he was going to leave the district at the end of 2026 and moved to Utah a couple years earlier, and talked in as opposed to amending his existing contract, it was easier to prepare a new one, which I have done, and to adjust the severance package more in line with his leaving of 1 year. And I'll need a motion from the board if they would like to enter into an agreement like that with George.
I have reviewed that package and I would make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Right. Is there any question or comments from the audience?
Mr. President, I should add that there was no adjustment to the to salary, and it's really just more tailoring the severance package to meet his the more recent circumstances. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the audience? All right, go ahead, caller. Never mind. All right. Is there any discussion from the board?
Yes, I would just like to ask if, or make sure that the salary part of this agreement includes a COLA for last year.
Noted. I'll confirm that and make sure, and then I'll send out a signable copy tomorrow to George and David.
All right, thank you.
Okay, well, there's no discussion and we have a motion and a second. I'd like to call for the vote, please.
President St. Amand,
Aye.
Vice President Griffin,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Yes.
Director Kozinski,
Yes.
Director Rotoria.
Yes,
The motion passes unanimously. Item 10A, consent.
before you do that,
Go ahead.
I'd like to
George.
thank the board for understanding of my personal situation and Jim for writing a good amendment to the or new contract. And I want to say thank you all for understanding that you'll get me back with my wife sooner as opposed to later.
And we appreciate your service, and we also appreciate the advance notice. All right, item 10 alpha, consent calendar. Approval of the board meeting minutes and accounts payable disbursements.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar to include the board minutes of November 10th and the special board meeting November 6th, as well as accounts payable disbursements.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the public? All right, any discussion from the board? Then let's go ahead and vote, please. And the motion passes unanimously. Very good. Next is item B, Plant and Equipment Committee. Award of contract, inspection and cleaning of water storage tanks.
Good evening. As you may or may not be aware, the district periodically does inspection and cleaning of our tanks. Usually it's around every 3 to 5 years. It went a little longer this time because we were constructing some new water tanks not too long ago. So we went out to bid, and this is for cleaning, and they dive. This is for divers to go in the tanks, and they do an inspection, and they vacuum off any sediment that's on the bottom of the tank, and give us a video and reports, and also they can perform minor repairs while they're in there of any of the coating. So I have another slide after this. Should have made that a little bigger. Sorry about that. It seemed bigger when I put it together. But we got 4 bids for the project, and the lowest bidder was Catalyst Diving for $30,400. And they are a little new. They've been in business for 6 years now, and they are out of Calabasas. They provided some references. I was able to speak to Yucaipa Water District and Santa Margarita Water District, both of which gave glowing recommendations and are continuing to use their service for not just water tanks, but recycled water facilities and things like that. So they have ongoing work with them. So they are registered public works contractor in California and are certified with the Association of Diving Contractors International. So my recommendation is to award the contract Catalyst Diving for $30,400.
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions from the public?
The committee reviewed this, and as you can see, we're wanting to go ahead and recommend approval as suggested for Catalyst Diving. And to keep in mind that I guess the primary of that company used to be part of Inland Potable Services. So we're very confident, and that was pretty much what the committees said. So our recommendation, as it states here, as though we approve the contract for Catalyst Diving.
Okay.
We're a little surprised at the spread of the bids.
Yeah, it was that way last time we bid it too. We had just one that seemed to be just way out there. And I'm not sure why they do that.
Any questions from the board to the committee? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any additional discussion? We have a comment from the public.
Yes, this is Renee Westelusk. I just have a question regarding, does cleaning the tanks on regular schedule, like I assume you've been doing, increase the longevity of the storage tanks?
Yes, because part of what they do is an inspection. And so they're taking a look at all the coating on the interior of the tanks, and they will do repairs to those coatings. And if it's something that is beyond what they can do, then that gives us a chance to take a closer look and see if we need to drain the tank and get a coating contractor out to do repairs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You, all right. Then I will go ahead and we'll call for the vote. Award the contract. Go ahead.
Okay. President St. Amand,
Yes.
Vice President Griffin,
Yes.
Director Boyd,
Yes.
Director Kozinski,
Yes.
Director Rotora.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, very good. Item C, Administration/Executive Committee, extension of an agreement with Waterview.
I'll take this one too. WaterView is a software that we use for the California as a way of conservation, as a way of life, and the reports that we have to do for the Department of Water Resources. I did some screenshots, some slides on there. So it's run by Eagle Aerial, who have the state contract for doing all the measurements of landscape. This is, I didn't want to go in too close so that, you can see certain lots and things like that. So, but you get an idea of whether people are within their water budget that's assigned to them based on their lot size and how much water they can use and all that kind of stuff what the state's looking at. So next screen, please. And we can get reports. We can take a look at, your monthly allotments and are you within your allocation that's assigned by the state? And also every year they provide me great data. So go ahead to the next one. Actually, I'm working with them next week on our next report that's due January 1st. This is just preliminary data. They don't have it all done yet, but so you can get, what our population that they have in there, our single family residential, and they're going to be looking at commercial and whether you're within your budget and when you might be projected to be not within your budget, that kind of thing. So the software is pretty invaluable and not something that we could do in-house. I know it's a little pricey, but it is something that we are required to do by the state.
Okay, do we have any questions from the directors?
I just want to make a comment about it so the rest of the board members are aware where I stand on it. I did recommend in the admin exec that we go ahead and do this. It is against my better judgment. maybe my judgment's not good, but it frustrates me that the state mandates us to do something like this and spend this amount of money every year on a reoccurring basis.
Unfunded mandate.
Yes, yes. And so it really frustrates me that we have to do this instead of using this money towards something to better our district or our district employees. So I understand that we have to do it and it's a requirement and they have a monopoly. There's not many other companies doing it or any. So, but it is frustrating.
So noted. George?
Yeah, I thought about Chuck's comment in the committee meeting, and one of the things that's true is that California conservation as a way of life is sort of intended to encompass the 95% of Californians that share all water. They're either on the state water project, or they're getting water from the Colorado River, or they're getting water from the aquifers. We stand in a unique position where we don't have any of those supplies. We stand on our own with our own aquifer, and what limits our water supply really, truly is our sustainable or safe yield, however you want to put it. And ultimately, later in this presentation, we'll talk about legislation. There would be the opportunity to create legislation at some point that says, if you're in our unique situation where other districts are, where we sit in a single aquifer, a single source of water, and we're not sharing water with everyone else, why are we subject to this? Because we are subject to other constraints that are more definitive and really tell us how much water we should use. So it's something to consider as we move on to discussions about legislation stuff.
All right, thank you. Director Rotora?
Yeah, I would like to second what Chuck said, that we basically, the state has set up a sole source environment for the software. And it's annoying. And it would have been nice if when they were doing their program that they would have had two sources developed. I was maybe asking too much from the state of California, but I feel the same way as Chuck. It's we have to do it, and it may be a lot cheaper than doing it ourselves, but it's still annoying.
Understood. Director Boyd?
Just a technical question. So the data that they use, is it based on satellite data, or do we pay for overflights with their sensors?
They do overflights
They do
through the
overfly.
whole state.
So the satellite data, which would give them probably even better resolution, which probably could be acquired for free, would be one way to move forward and make this thing more affordable.
Yeah,
But
I think I don't know, but I know that when they do the overflights, they use some sort of software to look at how much green versus how much not green. They call it irrigated,
right. and full-
non-irrigable, non-irrigated, and they sort of give you a number, and they're kind of looking at, I don't know if the satellite data gives them the same measurement. I'm not
You
really
probably
sure.
could. It looks at different wavelengths of light, but helps identify
Yeah.
the plant material.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway, that was
and it just frustrates me also that we are meeting those goals and our customers are meeting the goals. So just to have more mandates.
Yeah, to have to pay all this money when we're already in compliance with the 2040 standard is a little.
All right, so objections so noted. Director Kozinski?
Yes, I noticed that this report, is this the one the state sees?
This report you're looking at is actually also not the final report. This
Okay, what I'm
this will be
saying,
done for a few more weeks, but no, this is not what the state sees. The state has a specific set of spreadsheets that have to be filled out and sent to them.
use this data.
Which is, I take the data that's provided to me by WaterView.
Okay, and also, I guess this also includes data. They obviously, with the flyovers, is talking about outside consumption. This is indoor consumption. Do you provide them your figures to put all this data together?
We do provide
and-
them billing data, yeah.
And can we go back one slide where the chart was about the goal? And so it looks like the allocation, we were pretty much consuming much lower than our allocation on a regular basis. And this is by the month, I take it.
Yeah.
Which looks good. And the other question I have is, how much is this costing us? Everyone's talking about costs. I haven't heard.
33,000 a year, and this
Okay.
is a 3-year contract.
Okay. It's a 3-year contract?
3-year contract, yes. We originally signed a 3-year contract, I should say. Don was the one that got us signed up first, and then this is a renewal of that contract for another 3 years.
And I would take it because the state pretty much name them, because it's the only pretty much did, that since your report, we'll take basically this report and put whatever form the state needs,
Hmm.
that we have good backup for everything that we're doing.
Yes.
Okay, and the final thing is I agree that trying to do this ourselves for $33,000 a year, we couldn't do it.
No.
Mm.
Director Boyd?
Sorry, for a follow-up question. Try to make a good thing out of a bad thing. We were asked at the last district meeting by Mr. Neal, I believe, if there was a way that we could help the local residents of the community understand how their outdoor watering might be reduced if they were aware of, we don't have the tools to go out and do the measurement, but if we could use this tool in a way to figure out what our outside irrigable spaces are and how much we're using outside, maybe there's a way of making a good thing out of a.
Yeah,
out of a bad
there are
thing.
more things we can do with the data. That is true.
So can we ask them, since we've got them on contract, to do anything special for us other than them just responding directly what the state has requested them to do?
So we did have a conversation with them one time, and it was interesting. I think what they said, the irrigable, non-irrigated, I think what was our percentage, like 63%? It was really high. And they were like, you're the only place in the state that has this little green.
Mm.
I mean, most places, I think we were 65%. They said most places are well below or well above 50%. And so their comment was generally like, wow, you guys are doing a fantastic job. You do not have a lot of irrigated land and grass and trees as compared to other places. They also noted that, some of the difficulties they noted were places that have a lot of trees, like if you're up by Lake Tahoe or something, it's really hard because everything looks green. And, they have like 0% INI, we're at 63%.
Do any good to, is this on our webpage? Is this available under some new
No.
title called water allocation or something? Is it something we might want to do, or will it raise many questions? In other words, if someone just comes and looks at this
Reports
report.
that we do to the state every year are public.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
We don't want people to see individual
Do we have any,
postal data and stuff.
yards and stuff, and houses.
do we have any questions from the public or comments?
Listening to you guys, I agree with Chuck completely. It's spying. Is what it is. But my comment is, in looking at the illustration, the photo that Renee showed, one thing this flyover doesn't show is water wastage. And I'll give you an example. The house behind us, I don't know what they're watering in their backyard, but we have an alley. They fenced their part, so our part is not fenced. We now have a 6-foot creosote bush growing in our alley from water that is running under their fence. Eventually, I guess their chain link post will rot off. But one often sees water wastage. I know people report it, but it happens just the same, that water will run down the gutters or wherever. And that isn't going to show up on their little photograph flyovers because they're only looking for green. And I just point that out as I know you guys have your water waster reports, and I've even called in on occasion, but there's an example of something it's not catching that is really important, because water that's wasted is truly wasted. It's not creating a green plant or a vegetable garden or whatever. It's going down the gutter. Thank you.
I don't believe they have the capacity to do that. I'm going to guess that they have a limited number of flyovers and they don't do it frequently enough to catch leakage, but point's taken.
Right.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to point it out.
Got it.
The
Thank you.
flyovers are designed to measure certain things in the landscape. The other part of the software is the data that we give them as far as water usage for each parcel.
Okay.
And then they have a color coding on whether people by parcel are within their allotment based on the size of their parcel. Mhm.
Were there any comments or questions from our online viewers?
Hello, this is Renee Westerlusk,
Hello,
Ridgecrest
Renee.
resident. I have a couple questions. How
Go ahead.
accurate is this data collected by the state using flyover technology? Are they only having to glean like surface use of landscaping? I assume
They
it
don't-
doesn't do much depth.
It
and
just
then-
looks at the surface, the landscaping on the surface.
Okay. And then the other thing is, are swamp coolers
It
considered
doesn't look at swamp
in-
coolers, no.
indoor use? I just want
It's-
to know for my
Swamp
own.
coolers are considered indoor use, and
Okay.
the system doesn't address that.
It is-
Okay,
It is a variance that we will probably have to apply for in the future as we get closer to being to that 100% of our allocation. We can get a variance for swamp coolers, and there's a process to go through for that.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. All right, so we'll go ahead and close the discussion. Are there any final questions from the board? Then I'd like can I have a motion to extend our agreement with Waterview?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All right, thank you. Very good. Let's call for the vote, please.
President St. Amand,
Aye.
Vice President Griffin,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye, but only because I have to.
Director Kaczynski,
Yes.
Director Rotora.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item D, comprehensive groundwater adjudication. Mr. Worth, I believe this is yours.
This will be pretty brief because it's very similar to the last board meeting report, and that is the Phase 2 Safe Yield Trial is still scheduled for June 1st. We're in the middle of exchanging rebuttal expert reports, and then after that, the expert depositions will occur probably sometime end of January, February. We're trying to work on the scheduling for that. The mediation is going to occur on either the 13th or the 18th of February. We're still working on the specifics involved in that, but it is moving forward, and all of the parties are working cooperatively toward trying to make that happen. The last thing I'll report on with respect to litigation is you'll recall that we filed a motion to, I won't say intervene because we're already involved as filed an answer, but to define the scope and to see what we could do with the reverse validation action that was filed by Searles Valley in light of their settlement with the GA. There was an initial hearing on November 21st, and it was a long hearing, and the judge asked a lot of good questions, and everybody provided answers, and the bottom line was the judge wasn't ready to make a ruling. He wanted supplemental briefing, and right now we're in the process of trying to work with the Groundwater Authority to come up with a briefing schedule on that. So I don't have a hearing date for that further hearing on the reverse validation. There's been a couple of continuances requested by the GA on the litigation. So we're working on some things that might get bumped a little bit, but we are trying to move forward on it. That's all I've got on the litigation front.
Are there any questions from the directors?
No.
Are there any questions from the public? Do we have someone online? All right, go ahead, caller.
Yes, this is Renee Westerlusk. Regarding this adjudication, Phase 1 has been decided. Does that mandate that there's going to be a water master created?
No, that ruling in itself does not mandate that. That would be something that would probably be discussed during a Phase 3, which would probably be the physical solution aspect of it.
Is there going to be a Phase 3?
I certainly hope so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. All right. Oh, very good. Go ahead, caller. Are they muted?
I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Mike Sanat.
Go ahead,
I
Mike.
don't know if this is a good place to discuss it, but adjudication seems as good as any. I just noticed in the Groundwater Authority board packet that they're going to adopt a measure that allows the board members to attend board meetings remotely. And at this point, with Searles Valley settled and with the farmers settled and the fact that this really isn't local control with this groundwater authority. None of them are elected directly, and there's also an agenda item afoot at the city of Ridgecrest, proposed by Blades and Heyman to take the groundwater authority off the agenda at the city.
So, Mike,
and put it into a committee report.
this is
And I
all
guess,
covered right under the next topic, which is.
okay, I'm sorry. I'll bring it all up then.
No, absolutely looking forward to it.
Is
All
that
right.
okay? Good, thank you.
Yes, please do.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Is there anyone else online? Okay, any additional discussion from the board?
No.
Then-
Looking forward to Mr. Sanat finishing his story.
Thank you. All right, Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority. Okay,
Ah.
so go ahead, Mike.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, continuing from that, I guess I could repeat it, but the city of Ridgecrest is moving their discussion of the groundwater authority from an agenda item to a committee, which the public can always comment on anything, including a committee report, but this is more of an attempt to take the groundwater authority out of any kind of objective review by other members of the council. And in addition, I think they even said that they don't have any input as to their representatives' decision making on the board of the GA. They've relinquished it. So that effectively the representative of the GA, who in this case is Scott Heyman, Councilman Scott Heyman, who's also the chairman of the GA. And of course, the chair was supposed to be rotated, but they used the excuse of not allowing the water district to take its rotating position as the chair of the groundwater authority. So this groundwater authority is an abject failure, a mess, and it's not responsive to the people, and it's not responsive to their own city council. You saw them try to hide their activities in violation, in my opinion, clear violation of the Brown Act, in support of these two bills in Sacramento. The Groundwater Authority was paying for that legislation to be lobbied and written. And this is pretty nefarious in my view. I don't think the state intended for groundwater authorities to be able to act like this. And they certainly can't say that there's local control. There's no control. We have attorneys controlling it. There's an attorney that was recently disappeared from the groundwater authority by the name of Phil Hall for some of his activities. And I don't know the circumstances of what happened to Phil Hall, but now he has popped up and he's now the attorney working with Keith Lemieux. So he's now employed at the same law firm owned by Keith Lemieux, who's the GA general counsel, and he's also the city attorney. So what we have here is basically two attorneys that have been running this show from day one, trying to cover their bases. And this is outrageous. And I don't know how to roadblock these people, but this groundwater authority is a mess. This project is a mess. The engineer calls it tricky. Well, yeah, it's tricky. And they don't know how they're going to get the water. Once they get the water here, what are they going to do with it? So, and they have an estimate, but they don't have a professional estimate of what this pipeline's going to cost. There's got to be a legal recourse somewhere for the people of this valley against this groundwater authority, and be it to the state of Arizona or the state of California or DWR. The water district has played by the rules. They've done everything they can to comply with SGMA. They had to take the opportunity to use adjudication. That would have been negligent had they not joined the adjudication. You need to represent your customers, the property owners. So they have water rights. So this whole thing, SGMA is a failed experiment, and this groundwater authority is corrupt. It's not local control. From the outside looking in, it's just unbelievable to me to see this, and I've watched it closely for 10 years. So I'm done.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much.
I'm glad I got that off my shoulders.
The activities at the Ridgecrest City Council are alarming. The number of things that happened recently that have made it more difficult for councilmen who have questions to bring the subject of the pipeline and the GA to the agenda. That was intentional on the part of the partisans who were supporting the pipeline. And I assure you that this water district, whose intentions are to try to find the best solution to our issues that will benefit everyone in the valley, is doing everything it can as quickly as it can to address the sorts of misbehaviors that we might perceive happening at the Groundwater Authority.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. So my report from the last board meeting is you will remember that the Groundwater Authority released a press release, a rather rosy press release describing their agreement with Searles Valley Minerals. And that was then removed from the paper as premature. And I was having some inkling as to what the agreement might have been, wanting to know who published that, who wrote it, and who authorized it. And that was an interesting discussion at the end of the board meeting. Their lawyer, Lemieux, immediately dove under the cover of "this is ongoing litigation. I can't talk about it." And then the supervisor Peters said, "You're rude." And I said, "I have a right to ask questions." And then he said, "Well, that's funny coming from somebody who's always complaining about everybody else being rude." So I gave him the only response I could, "Wow." and then the meeting came to an end. So the fact that I got that flack says I was right over the target. There's something funny going on, and we see now recently published in the Daily Independent a description of the agreement between Searles Valley Minerals and the Groundwater Authority, which is, I'd say, in important areas, significantly different from that which the GA staff reported in their press release. And I have to assume it's the staff because they wouldn't tell me who wrote it or who approved it.
What was the latest presentation in the DI from Searles?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So what else can I say about it other than that? They just sent me the board packet just during the course of our meeting. It was very generous of them to send it. I wish they would send it the weekend before. That would be nice. Couple of items, board review and approval of resolution 225 regarding board rotation. And as per usual, the board rotation resolution states, if I can get my computer to start misbehaving, quote, the description, quote, the past couple of years under the advice of council, the Indian Wells Valley Water District has recused itself from participating in certain topics before the board. Given current court proceedings, full participation of the chair and vice chair is important for the constituents of this basin. Staff has provided the attached resolution which sets the city of Ridgecrest as the chairperson and the county of Kern as the vice chair for 2026. So once again, this skips over the Indian Wells Valley Water District and denies them their right to be the chair. So I ask our council, have we recused ourselves from some certain topics? I believe that's to be true.
We've agreed that we're conflicted out of the litigation matters because of all of the ongoing lawsuits. And then based on that rationale that they need an active president and vice president in all the matters, we stepped out. We did voluntarily agree to that, or it was voted in a couple of years ago, and this is just a continuation of the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay, right.
I don't know if we ever recused ourselves from that. I'd have to go back. It's been a number of years
So it's
ago.
an ongoing thing. Yeah, Vice President Griffin.
And just a note for, when this happened, when I was serving as the rep, I asked if I could be president, that there was no reason that we could not. And that's what they informed me also. It was in public that, because of the conflict, that it would be hard to have a chairperson that didn't agree, is what I was told, that did not agree with what the whole board was voting when I was voting different than everybody else. So it would be hard to have a chair
Okay.
that had a different opinion.
All right.
So I thought that was horse shit.
But on those items, that you're recused, you're not voting on them. You don't even know what they are.
Correct.
So,
No.
okay.
No, and I feel that the district could serve as a chair. We would have an obligation as the chair to report out what exactly got voted on, whether we agreed with it or not. I mean, that would be the obligation. That would be what you'd have to follow. It would not give you any more authority. It would just make you the chair.
Right, well,
And we wouldn't be able to vote on it,
No.
just like we don't vote on
No.
it now, and they'd still have enough people that could vote on it to push issues through. that they
Well,
want
to be clear, but you could not be the chair during the closed session. You
Right.
can't sit there and listen to their discussions in closed session in any capacity.
Director Rotori, you had a comment?
Yes, I was thinking that the agenda was supposed to come out 3 days ahead of the meeting. Is that not?
So the agenda did come out.
What,
Working days or calendar days?
Jim, what's the story there?
Agenda comes out 72 hours before a regular board meeting, 24 hours before a special board meeting, but it's only the agenda, not the board packet.
Right.
Okay, well, this clearly did not come out 7, because their meeting is at, what, 11 o'clock?
Well, the agenda was out, I think, 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
I
I
believe it came
normally
out
get
Friday.
it, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
No?
Okay.
It was sent out last
Incorporated
week.
it, so.
The agenda was.
Last week it was sent out, Tuesday or Thursday.
Dan, I'll have to
Thursday,
check my
Friday.
email and make sure it went to you. I thought I sent it to the whole board. I
Okay.
apologize if I didn't send it to you.
Okay, last month, there was a resolution to hire the city's council as the GA's council. And I went back and looked at the bylaws, and I believe it's paragraph 3.5. that says that the agency that has the acting president is supposed to provide the general counsel. And I don't see that happening. The GA is paying Keith Lemieux's firm to be the general counsel. Who did you say was going to be the president this coming year?
The chair would be the city of Ridgecrest.
I
And then
thought they were chair this year.
No, I think you might be right. Who was the chair?
Was he?
It was,
Heyman.
it was Heyman.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the last meeting he was
right.
absent and Supervisor Peters was in charge.
City's the chair.
So does the city have a choice of someone other than Heyman?
No.
It would either be direct or
So what there's,
Heyman
It would be Heyman or
would be the only
their
two
rep.
eligible.
so as it's written, the city of Ridgecrest remains to be the chair.
That's correct.
And if the chair is supposed to provide legal counsel for the board, then that is a reason why we cannot assume the chairmanship of the
But
groundwater
it-
authority, because then our legal representatives would be in on all the exciting adjudication lawsuit information.
I could resolve it
But
quicker
the
that
chair
way.
is supposed to provide the legal counsel at no
Yes.
cost. And last month, they signed a contract to pay Keith Lemieux's firm pay Keith for being the
Yep.
general counsel.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that the bylaws are being not adhered to.
There was I asked some questions about that, and Mr. Lemieux, I believe it was, said that it was part of the ongoing compensation to the city for the past agreement about the water reclamation plant.
What the
I-
water
Yep.
that died last
I
month.
I had no progress in getting
Yeah,
it.
I heard you bring it up,
Okay.
but my feeling is they're violating their own bylaws when they pay the city. When the city is the president, the city is supposed to be providing the general counsel. There's nothing that says it's going to get reimbursed.
Thank you. All right.
On top of that, Stan, there's actually an agreement from each of the big three that is in the system where each of the big three agreed that any legal services provided to Jay would be in kind. And there's three separate documents, one by us, one by the county, and one by the city. Yeah. Yeah.
But when we sign it, just like everybody else, we're not the president. The president is still supposed to be providing the agency that is the acting president is supposed to provide
Your mic's-
his agency, the general counsel. I mean,
That is the way it's drafted to this day. That
All right.
if you're the president, you're supposed to provide
Yeah.
legal counsel, and then they've got this recycled water agreement where they've agreed to pay all of the city legal fees.
But that ended last month, so the bylaws are pretty clear.
That may well be true. There isn't really much that we can do about that, because they always have some interesting answer as to why it's still allowed. And I'm not quite sure how we would handle that. So we have somebody online? What, Judy, do you have a comment to make? And then we'll go online.
Yes, this is Renee West-Lusk.
Go ahead, Renee.
I'm just recollecting about the situation going back to why the water district could not be part of the rotation of being a chair of the GA. It happened during Mr. Ratora's time he was on there, and he even stated that there were going to be votes he would have to abstain from. So because of that situation, it came about that they couldn't have the water district be the chair. They have to have someone who can participate in all the votes. And that wasn't going to be the case.
That was their opinion.
Just a point of clarification.
Right, that was their opinion. Thank you for that. All right. Judy, go ahead.
Yes, I have a comment. First of all, your comment that you just got the board package, that means that I got it too, hopefully. I just want to be sure that you know that the clerk of the board cannot send out the information until she gets it. So the problem is not the clerk of the board. It's whoever is supposed to be providing her the information on a timely manner.
Understood.
And I agree with you on your comments about the bylaws, Stan. That is my while I haven't read them in years, that is my recollection that whoever is chairman provides the legal counsel.
All right.
So maybe it should be brought up again Wednesday.
Okay,
That
thank you
might
for
be
your comment.
rude, though.
And by the way, just to clarify, I was not trying to insinuate that it was April that was not being timely. It clearly, she can't do, or she can't distribute information that she hasn't been given. And that's pretty clear. And I think there's one or two players in the GA that continually, month after month, provide their information late.
I didn't mean to insinuate that you or any of the board were thinking that. I just wanted to say it out loud.
Okay.
She can't send it if she doesn't have it.
Yeah, it's important for the public to understand the process.
Yeah, I wanted the public to understand that too, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, about the board's, George, did you have a comment?
I had a couple more comments about the GA meeting, if you wouldn't mind.
I
Or
don't,
do you
but
still
I'd
have-
like to get some clarification for the board first on how they would like me to vote on that resolution. Go ahead, caller.
Mike Sinat again.
Go ahead,
I
Mike.
think I want to clarify on the city of Ridgecrest and the attorney's fees. They kind of wrapped up the option agreement that they had between Keith Lemieux, the attorney at the GA, and Keith Lemieux, the city of Ridgecrest, signed by Ron Strand for $375,000 for a 5-year option to buy this recycled water from the city of Ridgecrest, which just expired. That was, at the time, I think the figure for 375 was $125,000 a year, essentially, for services from the city of Ridgecrest to reimburse. But then there's and I noticed this, I think it was maybe the month before last in the board packet, there was an invoice from the city of Ridgecrest, and there's unpaid amounts to the city of Ridgecrest, and the total of these unpaid amounts and the amounts that they're due is over $1 million. And it was very vague about what this $1 million invoice was. So I just want to bring your attention to that. They're washing a lot of money to the city of Ridgecrest for something. I'm assuming it's going to Keith Lemieux's law firm, but I'm going to bring it up. He's already in what I call a dual agent. He's operating from 2 different clients. There's an inherent conflict of interest for him to do that. And I'm really surprised he can get away with it, actually.
Okay.
That's enough. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. So what we should continue then with the policy based on the legal issues that we're facing, continue to support or to oppose the resolution for changing out the chair. Hang on a sec, let Jim handle that.
Just for a point of clarification, you can hear what the board says, but you can't really poll them to tell you how to vote.
Okay.
Because you can't go in there
So do I have any
already known how you're
opinions
voting.
about it, then is what I really would like to have.
Very good. That's all.
Our Director Kaczynski, your opinion about that resolution?
I was going to ask both Chuck and Stan, do you remember when you guys had to vote on it?
I did, but that's what I wanted to clarify to President Saint Amand was you're gonna vote how you want to vote when you get there. But when I did it, I thought that we could serve as president and leave. Now, I could see an issue with legal in closed session, but you're gonna make that decision when you get there, whether you vote no, yes, or abstain. So
My opinion is very close to yours in that I think it could be accomplished. Director Boyd, any thoughts on the issue? Director Rotora, any thoughts on the issue? No. Do I have to refer to equine waste products if I get into discussion about this with the GA board?
it might make a good choice.
All right.
Bovine.
Thank you. All right, George, you have some reports for us.
Just a couple other notes. During the last GA meeting, there was a mention that on the AVEX side of the proposed imported water pipeline, there would be an additional $50 million needed to enable the pipeline that they're proposing to build to actually work. And then they made a comment, we're not really sure how much of that is the responsibility of the groundwater authority. That's a pretty big question for the ratepayers of the water district, because that bill could very well fall on our ratepayers. The other thing they said, and when I talk about our engineering firm, they didn't do the geotech before they did the pipeline, how deep it needed to be. And so along Garlock Road, once they got the geotech, and we all know that Garlock Road washes out and we have heavy rain events, they said, well, geez, it would be much better if the pipeline were 15 feet deep, but that would dramatically increase the cost of the pipeline. So we really can't afford to put the pipeline 15 feet deep. So we're going to recommend that we live with it at a shallower depth and understand that periodically it will just get washed away and we'll just have to fix it. I thought that was something that was certainly something an engineer would, as an engineer, I find that a little odd, as does our consulting engineer. So those are a couple extra notes from the meeting.
Two interesting things to note with that. That gives you an indication of the quality of the forethought put into the route and the plan, and it suggests that every project you might miss some detail, but that's a pretty significant detail. And the idea that we could just live with repairing the pipe every time it washes out just goes to prove that money is no object if it's not your money. Anything else, George?
Yeah, just the fact that they're going to ask the Army Corps of Engineers to give them $5 million to, I presume, start construction on a pipeline that has not been approved under NEPA or CEQA, that raises some questions in my mind about whether that's something you can actually do legally.
And there's another issue with the $5 million. That's normally reserved for projects that are emergencies. And I don't think we qualify as an immediate emergency. So there's a number of questions about their forced start. Director Kaczynski, any comments or questions?
Yeah, I noticed you're going to be approving extension of contracts for additional money for Provost and Pritchard and Stetson and whoever else. There's always some of them, maybe a couple, three of them. And this is just going to continue to go on and on and on because the engineering firm design this thing has continued. Like he said, we're always finding things, and it's going to get more and more expensive. And don't you think it behooves the GA to turn to them and say, before we go any farther, can you do a detailed cost analysis of everything that we need to consider and get done?
Mm-hmm.
Because just coming forward and say, by the way, we need an extra $2 million for this, an extra $3 million for this, $50 million for the AVEC hookup, and now we're going to put this underground, so there's another $20 million. I mean, that's going to go on and on and on. There ought to be a dollar amount on this thing. And I would hope that Provost and Pritchard, am I saying it right? Provost and Pritchard? It doesn't matter. Pritchard, Provost and Pritchard. Provost and Pritchard is that they have a handle on it, or they should have a handle on it. And so it'd be nice if we knew that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll ever get it, but you can ask.
Director Boyd and then Director Rotora.
Just for the public clarification, George used a number of 50 million, you used a number of 5 million. in this
Oh,
discussion.
Different.
Different topics.
Different
Okay,
topic. The
it
50
might-
million is a modification to the AVEC system that's not, that would allow AVEC to deliver water to the point of delivery where the pipeline starts. The 5 million would be used in some manner to actually put shovels in the ground and start the construction of the pipeline, if I understood what they said correctly.
Okay, that was just a point of clarification.
Right. Got it.
Thank
So there's an unanticipated cost on their end for hooking into AVEC, and that's what the $50 million is about. And the 5 million is just to get the project started, so then they can claim, we've already spent $5 million, we can't stop now, which is a sunk cost fallacy.
Right.
Director Ratora.
Thank you.
In addition to the cost analysis that Ron brought up, my feeling is we also need to have an in-depth risk analysis. And they should know what a risk analysis is if they're real engineers. So I would like to see that provided. And for those who have already gotten the agenda, could I ask, is the audit in the agenda anywhere?
I didn't see it on there.
Did not see the audit in the agenda.
Because typically, I believe the
There should be a discussion.
county auditor, or no,
It
the
could be
California
in the
auditor
board
requires
report.
like 6 to 8 months.
We haven't had, I just got it, and I haven't had a chance to review it. If they haven't included the audit in the board packet, I will bring that
Ask
topic
them
up.
when it is going to be.
Will do.
They've got to be in the middle of the audit right now. They,
I have a copy of the agenda and is not on the agenda.
Okay, so they were, the general manager for the Groundwater Authority did assure me that they would have the audit ready by by December, so we'll have that as a topic of discussion. Do we have any comments, questions, or observations from the public? Any other questions from the board? Oh, we have one.
I just want to bring, this is Mike again.
Hey, Mike.
Sorry. I
No
just want to bring
worries.
up one item on that board agenda for the Groundwater Authority. In the closed session, they have 2 items on real property negotiator purchasing of water. And it really concerns me that they're plowing forward and buying water and potentially making commitments that would extend beyond what I see as potentially the restructuring of the GA. So I'll just leave it at that, but I don't think, I think that's what restraining orders are for. And this Groundwater Authority needs to be restrained. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
This is Dan Tolbert. I think it's pretty obvious from an outsider standpoint that the GA doesn't care what you think, doesn't care what you want to do, doesn't care about your objections, doesn't care about how much money they spend because, as your chairman stated, it's not their money. They spend it willy-nilly. They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars getting to where they are right now, and that's not any further than day one. Other than they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get nowhere. But now they're finding fallacies in their own reports, their own moving forward, and they don't care because there's no accountability. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Tolbert. I appreciate that comment. So I guess we're ready to move to the next item. I would like to thank everybody for their commentary and for the discussion about the pending resolutions. I am disturbed by the lack of transparency in the Groundwater Authority, and I'm disturbed by attempts to make the machinations of the Groundwater Authority even less transparent at the city council level. I wish we could have an open and sensible discussion about everything, including the pipeline, which I believe has been approached in a manner that is utterly backwards to standard engineering practices. So with that, let's move to item F, KP Public Affairs Contract Amendment Extension. Jim, you want to take the lead on that one, or George?
Sure. KP, I believe, did a fantastic job working with us in the prior year. And I recommend that we continue our relationship with them. They helped us change 14, I believe it was 1466 to a much more favorable bill, and 1413 has been put on hold. However, 1413 can still move forward in the next legislative session. And because KP has significant experience and already understands the issue, I would recommend to the board that we have a motion to continue a contract similar to the one that we had with him previously to work these legislative actions that are adverse to the water district.
Okay. Is there any, Jim?
Just note that the cost of the district is $5,000 a month and which seems very reasonable for the service that they have provided.
All right, are there any questions or comments from the directors? Vice President Griffin.
I don't really have a question. I have a comment. So it's 5,000 a month that we're gonna pay, so that's 60,000. So again, this is one of the things that frustrate me. It's just like the state mandated thing that we're going into here. In total, the water district, we're gonna pay $60,000 to fight litigation that was created by the groundwater authority's firm
With our money.
that with our ratepayers' money again, and I see it's on their agenda Wednesday to approve $230,000 this year to fight litigation against us. And I just think it's really crappy that two agencies in the same valley with a solution that we could fix our water problem have to hire outside sources to have each other opposed in Senate bills. So
Once
just
again,
sad.
Cost is no consideration if you're spending somebody else's money to sue them. Director Kaczynski.
No, I think Chuck said it all.
Okay.
It's-
All right, Director Boyd.
Oh, the other cost in there, of course, was the campaign with Facebook.
Yeah.
Which you also, how much is that? And the Facebook communication protocol that they're
Yeah.
funding now to
I believe that's supposed to be no greater than $15,000 a month, if I remember
only
correctly.
15 of them. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that was for the total package. That's the total compensation for their public relations. They were going to be paying 15,000 a month regardless, and we were assured that they wouldn't exceed that figure because of the Facebook posts. At least that's what I heard in the meeting. Director Rotora?
No comment.
All right, no comments. Do you have any comments or questions from the public on this item?
I have a question.
And this is?
Dan Tolbert,
Dan, please.
how much money has the district spent covering the GA's questionable actions and filing suit? How much money has the district spent of district payees to stand ground against a GA that doesn't really care about solving the problem? They only want a pipeline. They don't want to solve this problem. They want a pipeline. End of my comment.
Thank you. Jim?
We have that.
I don't know the number, but when you look at legal, technical and everything, I will confirm it's millions at this point, just from the district standpoint. That doesn't count the replenishment fee.
Right.
I believe that I asked that question of Ty because someone asked me once before about it. I think I have it here, Ty.
While you're searching, we're going to bring another caller in. Go ahead,
Okay.
caller.
Got it in here somewhere.
Yes, this is Renee Westelusk.
Hello, Renee.
Yeah, the cost that the water district has been paying using ratepayers' money to be in this litigation, it was estimated by Mr. Doug Everett of the law firm that's doing the litigation. He said it was going to be about $1 million a year, and this adjudication was launched, I believe, in June or July of 2021. And then the water district had to spend an extra $1 million this past year developing the groundwater model, your own hydrogeological conceptual model. And so I've calculated it's probably like 5.5 million just doing that plus the hydrogeological
Okay, thank you.
conceptual model. So $1 million a year since June of 2021, plus the cost of the hydrogeological model.
Okay, Director Kaczynski has found paperwork he was looking
Yeah,
for.
I asked this question, and to be exact, since 2020 through 2025, and 25 is not completed, but up to, I believe, the end of October, November, it was $3.8 million, which included all the legal fees, including the cost of the technical working group. But it didn't include the modeling. And I don't have the number on the modeling with me. So 3.8 million in legal fees over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
But does that include the cost you had to send out for the answers, that legal document where every parcel owner?
Yes,
That includes it all.
it does.
And I think it's always really important when you start talking about this stuff to understand the context of this. We're talking about a pipeline that will exceed $400 million in cost, and the decision, a lot of this cost that we're talking about of a few $1,000,000 is to make a decision that will ultimately cost the people of this valley upwards of $400 million. And so, what is the cost to make the right decision? And I think we're doing absolutely the right thing to make sure that the absolute right decision is made for the citizens of this valley when you look at that figure of that pipeline cost.
Yes, so,
And I'd like to make one comment to tie into George's, because I think I got this a little off track. I know we're voting on a public relations or something right now, but,
Yeah, I thought we were,
I-
yeah.
um,
Yeah, we were.
but to reiterate, I know Renee's questioning, I was questioning and saying that I think it sucks that we're having to spend this much money to fight each other, when, in my opinion, we have a solution. We have the science to back up that we have the answers. And to the reason for Mrs. Westerlux that I continue to pursue this avenue is just because I believe it's cheaper to work on this solution and show that we have the science to prove that we have the water to sustain, and not spend the money on a pipeline for the rest of my kids' lives, my grandkids, and let that cost be passed on for generations and generations. So I will continue to fight it for that reason.
all right, so I'm going to go ahead and, do we have one more? No? All right, so I'm going to make just a quick statement and then we'll vote on, we'll get a motion in a second, if we haven't already. And that is that my feeling is that the board would rather spend this money on something to improve the water district or to expand our capabilities and services. But as we've already said, $400 million, it's not just once. In 30 years, you have to spend another equivalent of $400 million. And then 30 years after that, another equivalent of 400. It goes on forever. So what seems like a large expense now, and it is ultimately going to be a drop in the bucket compared to the expense that the Groundwater Authority is trying to saddle us with. And I say the Groundwater Authority is trying to saddle us with, I mean the Water District, because they've said that they're going to be buying water for us to use in our system. And they have been informed that we have no intention of taking the water that they're going to bring in. And I have been told by the supervisor and others that, oh, we can make you take it. So it's a fight and it's going to last a while. And I wish it wasn't costing so much money, but there it is. Microphone. Sorry. Okay. Right.
I'll make a motion.
Better be a motion at the end
Yeah,
of
there's
this.
a motion at the end of all this.
All right.
I want to say that I'm adamant, I believe in that this district will always be transparent with everything we're doing. That's why we have our Groundwater Authority discussion here. That's why we have our, whatever we can talk about adjudication here. That's why we talk about these contracts here. I don't want to hide anything. And when we come up with numbers and facts, if they ask us how much we spend on legal, we got that. If they ask us we spend on something, we have that. So we'll always be transparent. If you have a question, come and ask us. And with that, I will make a motion that we approve the extended contract for KP Public Affairs for another year.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Vice President Griffin beat you to it. We have one last comment before the vote is called for.
You said that if anybody had a question to ask. So I'm going to ask it publicly. When is the water district going to release its groundwater model so that others can look at it?
We have.
It's been released. And it's part of the, it's been released. It's in a, it's in file format. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I got it.
Well, I
And
wouldn't either.
let me
but
finish, let me finish, please. And it's available through the litigation. You have to be a party. We're not just handing it out to anybody. And you also have to sign
Yes.
non-disclosure. So it has
Yes.
been, it has been
That's
released.
the issue right there.
Then talk to,
The non-disclosure issue that you have to sign, there is no guarantee in this litigation world that we live in that someone is going to say that John Smith released the information to him when he in fact didn't. So that's the issue right there.
part of this non-disclosure is required by the Navy as part of their disclosure. So this is not something that we came up with at the Water District. We did a disclosure that's been approved, and it's available for those parties if they sign a non-disclosure agreement. That's all.
If you have questions about that, you can inquire it of the Navy. All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have a vote?
Oh, I'm sure we do.
You voted.
President St. Amand,
Yes.
Vice President Griffin,
Yes.
Director Boyd,
Yes.
Director Kozinski,
Yes.
Director Rotora.
Yes.
All right, the motion for extending the contract for KP Public Affairs is passed unanimously. Thank you. All right, item G, election of officers. Board of Directors will nominate and vote for the 2026 Board of Directors, President and Vice President. Could we do that one office at a time, or do you want to do it as a slate?
We can do it one at a time as long as you vote yes on it. Otherwise, you'll have to break it up.
All right, let's go ahead and open the discussion for presidency. Vice President Griffin.
I would like to start off by saying, I was vice president this year, and I know most of the time vice president moves into the president. My job status and my workload does not permit me to be the president next year. I just do not have the time to dedicate full-time that I feel that it would require to give the district the best. So I cannot be president next year.
Okay,
So,
all right, thank you.
if you're accepting nominations, I will do that. If you want to have discussion first.
Go ahead and nominate.
Oh, okay. I would like to see, I think you've done a great job as president this year. I really think you're going to do a great job as the rep for the GA, and I appreciate what you're going through and doing that. I'd like to nominate Ron to be the president next year, moving from there on.
Oh, I'll accept the nomination.
Okay, all right.
I can understand as well where Chuck's coming from.
Director Rotora?
I've got no problem with Ron being the president, but the last 6 months of this year, we have had one person being both the president and our GA member, and I think you've done an excellent job at both jobs. And so whether it's Ron taking both jobs, which actually David's got one more year to his GA stretch, so it would require Ron, probably him stepping down. But my feeling is I would like to see a continuation of the president or chairman, president, being the GA person, because I think that works well. But I guess that's my feeling anyway.
Director Boyd?
But
sorry.
not against Ron.
Understood. Director Boyd?
Yeah, no, my understanding was that you would be serving a second year as the GA lead based on the 2-year commitment, so it wasn't an issue of GA so much. I'm perfectly happy with you being president as well. I don't know if the load of being both of those that we currently ask you is too much for you or not, but I'd be perfectly fine with nominating you to continue in the role that you have today. No disregard for Ron, but but I don't know if we can do that. If we have to rotate the president every year, or is that?
I don't think I've seen him go back to back. We tried once before. Let me make a comment about David as the GA rep. I think David is by far the strongest GA rep we've ever had. And that's including from me or Stan, no offense, or Chuck. I mean, he's not afraid to ask what needs to be asked and say what needs to be said. At the risk of being said you are impolite and whatever it is. Rude and impolite. So regardless of who is president, I think David needs to retain the GA position and continue in at least a full 2 years. And if he continues like he is, and we may have to make it forever.
No more mean tweets, though.
Bite your
Yeah.
tongue.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment, and I could be completely wrong, but my feeling, to answer Stan's question, I would rather see each person, I know they're doing work. It would be the president of the board and our groundwater authority rep when they're going to a meeting. Both people are there. If they're going to a state legislative meeting, if they're meeting with Senator Grove or Congressman or anybody they're meeting with, it's the president of the board and the groundwater authority rep. So that's why I think it's important to have dual representation. And I agree with Ron as far as Director St. Amand. He's doing a great job. He's got the guts to say what he wants to say. So, and some of his analogies, I mean, we don't need AI when we have him in the room because he can change whatever we said and interpret it. So
You make a good point. I mean, when we meet, and I would hope that the way that we work together, both David and I, when it comes to dealing with the politicians, and all would stay the same. But the fact that you have a president and the chair of the GA, two powerful statements being made, is important. But again, it's up to the board.
Okay, we have,
Just to be clear, remember, these are unrelated. We pick new officers every year, and
Yeah.
the GA, although we're on a 2-year shift, Chairman Heyman's been doing it for what, 4 or 5 years? So there's no, it's not like the presidency. You don't get kicked out after 2 years. That's all.
so not forever.
So, you're forever.
All right. Oh, Lord, I hope I'm not missing the meeting that day.
I'm just delighted that we have two potential candidates that would do excellent jobs. So that's nice options to have.
So we have a nomination of Director Kaczynski for president. Do we want to go ahead and have a vote?
Yes, we can definitely do it one at a time.
Do we have a second for that nomination?
I would second that.
All right. Okay, let's call for the vote. Nope.
Oh,
This is for the nomination of
Oh,
Director
it-
Kaczynski as president.
right.
All right, so go ahead and vote on that.
What's wrong here?
And the gremlins are after your
No.
motion again, Stan.
I'm gonna learn this somehow. Like my finger.
Oops, nope. Okay, all righty. So the motion passes and Director Kaczynski will be president for the coming year.
And my first job is to make you the permanent representative at the GA.
Now be careful. All right, so now we need to discuss who was going to be vice president.
Well, some thoughts on that.
Sure,
And
go ahead.
All the arguments that were made as we were trying to decide who might be our next president, I think support the notion that, you and Ron are working really well together. And with the contacts with legal and the GA and considering your role with the GA, it just makes logical sense to me, if you're up to it, that you be Ron's VP.
Okay.
I would second that.
We got
Could
it.
I
Go ahead, Jim.
a caution, if, the way it's worked in the past, the vice president and the president work together. They're actually on, I believe, the admin committee together. So if what you're thinking moving 2026 is that Ron's going to be the president and then David's going to be the vice president and the GA rep, and they're going to go talk to everybody, then might have Brown Act violations because they're a committee of the admin. And so if you meet, it's a Brown Act violation. So sounds good on paper, but it just might create some Brown Act, issues moving forward, 2026. That's all.
Is that strictly,
I didn't understand.
yeah, is that strictly because they're on the admin committee already?
Yes, and so if you're on the admin committee and you meet, you're subject to the Brown Act, and,
There's still two people, regardless what their titles are.
it's an ad hoc committee, and it's an ad hoc committee, which makes it a legislative
It's a
body.
standing committee. The admin committee is a standing committee.
Well, I'm sorry, it's a standing committee, which makes it subject to the Brown Act, and therefore, that's why we post agendas for our committee meetings, because you're subject to it. The full board or standing committees. I made the mistake, if it's an ad hoc committee, you're not subject to the Brown Act because you're there for a specific purpose that's gonna not take forever.
So what you're arguing is that we would discuss what may go on the agenda for the admin. It may be discussions about the admin committee, right?
Yeah, when you guys get together, you would be a quorum of the admin committee
Okay.
every time you met.
So do they have to be on the admin committee?
According to the rules, yes.
Well, no, you can, I mean, you can
No.
always change your own rules, but I just want you to be aware that what you're getting
So if I
into.
were vice president, then I would not be able to serve on the admin committee
Well, you could, but it would just make me,
without,
it would make you and Ron doing other things outside of the admin
all right,
committee
so let me
more
rephrase
difficult.
that. If, in order to avoid potential Brown Act issues, as vice president, I should not serve on the admin committee.
Yeah, just don't be on, like, you do, if you're gonna be the vice president, do not be on the standing committee with the president. Yes, I agree with that.
All right.
I don't see if, David, if you're really interested in becoming vice president, I don't see a problem with another board member, whether it be Mel, and I'll be making committee assignments, sits in there, because basically what that committee does regularly is just look at what the agenda is going to look like, what's on the agenda, what's not on the agenda, and things like that. So there's not many issues that come forward. That would be a recommendation we can make if it's something that would be agreeable to the board.
And I would love to be on that committee because that's the latest one in the.
There we go. Yeah. So there we go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So with that in mind, I guess we're up to a vote.
So do our bylaws require the president and the vice president to be on the admin committee together?
I don't think it does.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's in the bylaws.
But it's been standard practice.
It's been standard practice, but that doesn't mean you can't change it.
Right.
Okay, so
I can check into that, though.
Okay, so any kind of a selection as vice president would be contingent upon your checking into the,
No, I mean, all you do is we just change the committee makeup.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done it before.
It'd be my responsibility when I look at assignments for the committees to take into account what Jim has to say. And you may not be on the admin committee. You'll probably be on every other committee.
It's also the next agenda item.
Yeah, it's also next agenda item.
okay, all right.
So I guess we're up.
Does that change the opinion of the board as to who they would like to nominate?
No.
It does not for me.
No, not for me.
Lord love a duck. All right. Let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Was there a motion and a second?
No, it hasn't been a motion yet. Who wants
For
to
the
make
vice
a motion?
president?
No, I know, we made a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Who did it? I'm
Make a
sorry.
motion.
I made the motion and I think, no, Mel made the motion.
Did it?
And you second
Second, right.
and Stan
A
said.
motion and a second
Let's
real
do it
quick.
again. Motion, please.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, just to be
Thank you.
sure. All right.
Roosevelt's gonna be driven crazy before this.
All right, there's, the motion passes with 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Item H, committee assignments.
I would like to make a motion, if needed, that we change the arrangement of the admin exec committee to where it's not a requirement for the vice president and the president to be members of that committee.
This time, I don't know if that's necessary to make a motion for. I think we need to figure out what's going on with.
George asked me a question. I apologize. Can I hear the question again?
I just said I'd like to make a motion that we change the structure of the admin exec committee not to include the vice president and president, or it wasn't mandatory.
Can you just, give your recommendations? We'll take a look at it and see what's needed, if anything.
Well, it's
Knowing-
not agendized, so I don't see how we could.
It is agendized. That's what we're discussing right now.
Committee assignments.
Well, you can word it in such a way that it meets the needs.
Chuck, I'm not sure
Address
there's
it right.
anything,
Oh,
I'm not
sure.
sure there's anything to change. I think all we do is what we always do, and that is you provide the president-elect with your preferences for the committees. We'll look into what, if anything, we might have to do in light of our president and vice president.
Right, so my preference is anything but the admin exec committee or any other committee upon which you sit. However, if you're absent,
that's
I can
right.
fill in for you, but
That- yeah.
I serve at your pleasure.
Right.
And the assignment that you determine is best, as long as we are not on the same committee.
That's right. That can be done. Absolutely. So I guess I'm looking for volunteers for the committee. You could probably just email myself and copy in George and
We've always
yeah,
done.
Isabel, yeah.
So we, in past, the board has submitted ideas.
Yeah,
for the
ideas,
president as to
yeah.
what they'd like to do. Do you want to do that verbally? Do you want us to?
If you're
send
ready
an
to,
email
if not,
or-
just email me. How would you?
Usually we pick a date when you should have your preferences in, and then Ron goes ahead and goes with that.
That's normally how it goes. Do the directors have their preferences already in mind? Why don't just go ahead and email Ron? And
Yeah.
we'll have him do the
Then I'll
decision.
email back, you're on this committee, this committee.
And you have my preference. I'm not going to email you.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah,
Right.
I know exactly what your preference is.
My preference is to avoid difficulties with the Brown
And
Act.
my preference is to punish those board members that deserve it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're going to make a great president. All right. Item I, annual board workshop.
Ooh, calendar.
So I'm looking at the January calendar. First week in January is going to be busy with committee meetings on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then we have the board meeting on the 12th, the GA meeting on the 14th. Martin Luther King holiday falls on the 19th. It looks like that's a fairly open week, so probably a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week might be a decent day to look at. Unless you really want to cram everything into 1 week in the first week of the new year, which might be a bit much.
I like
so-
the week of the 18th, whatever, 20th, 21st,
Yeah,
22nd.
20th, 21st, 22nd.
Like it's the most wide open.
There's a holiday that week, right?
Yeah, there's
19th.
on the 19th of, which is a Monday.
Right.
That's a holiday. So probably the day after the holiday or the Thursday, last day of, or
What was the number?
Maybe 23rd of January?
23rd is a
No,
Friday, so
That's right,
22nd of
22nd.
January.
water district isn't open
On Fridays.
on Friday, and that's putting
Right.
employees in a bad
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, no, so 22nd is a Thursday.
No, I'm good for the 22nd.
That's good, yeah.
South
We're
End
retired,
would be
Sam. We could do the 20th,
26th.
21st, or 22nd.
Or the 21st,
Yeah.
or the 20th, actually.
And we usually meet at 9 and it's like 9 to noon.
9 to noon.
typically.
Yeah.
To the 20th or the 23rd.
I would recommend the 20th then due to conflicts with staff.
I think I can support the 20th.
I can do the 20th.
20's good.
Okay, what time?
Fine.
9 is what we're doing.
All right.
Okay, we'll send out an email noting that date. We'll put it on our calendar and we'll be asking for topics from the board members. And we'll have topics that we
Does
recommend.
John know he's running the omelet cart?
All right. Item J, general manager's update. George.
Okay, we start with significant, I want to welcome Isabel as our new board secretary. Everyone give her a round of applause.
Yes.
And I believe we have a new hire that is replacing her in customer service. Does our new hire officially have a name?
Yes, yeah. It's Courtney something.
Courtney something.
It is Courtney Kent.
There you go. Courtney Kent. So we want to welcome her. She'll be starting on the 15th, is that correct? And Arturo, Magallanes is our new temporary inspector who volunteered to do the inspection on the Brady pipeline when we started doing that. So he's moving over from water treatment to do that as a temporary assignment. So we wanted to thank them all. We got some legislative updates. There's nothing really significant to report on 1413 other than that it's likely to rear its ugly head again, as we talked about earlier. There's also Jim's firm sent us a lengthy analysis of a Senate Bill 707, which makes changes to the Brown Act. And I think this might be related to the GA proposal to allow people to have video teleconferencing stuff. We'll see at the GA meeting, but I know it did change some of the video authorities under the Brown Act. Is that, well, Jim's not there to, like, Jim, yeah, I need your support. No, I asked Jim earlier, and I think, so it'll be interesting to see if that's what drove that particular item on the GA agenda.
According to the agenda, it did.
Not surprised. And let's see, nothing, good news, nothing significant to report under safety and injury. Unless there's questions, we'll go on to the next slide. Okay. There's really not a lot significant to report other than things that we've talked about in this meeting, in our various committee meetings. So nothing significant to report for admin, plant and equipment, or finance. Public outreach, I want to say that John and Caleb have been actively involved in the Chamber of Commerce leadership class, doing some great stuff. I think John tried to get himself in trouble by volunteering to help students out in Trona with some extra food during days when they were not able to get food at school. And I think that went, my understanding is that went really well. He collected a lot of food for them. And so they're doing a fantastic job representing the water district in that. And we don't really have a lot of events in December other to report on than that. And as far as conference attendance requests, we have none at this point in time.
Just as a heads up on that, there is a spring aqua in Sacramento. I think it may be in Monterey, but usually there's a spring. We went to it a year, maybe 2 years ago. Since we missed the fall conference this year, it might not be a bad idea for us to tee that up for
Okay,
participation.
Tomorrow I'll get on the computer and take a look at both Aqua and CSDA and see what events are coming up.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments? We have a question from the public.
I was
Go
gonna, okay, that's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What was that, Renee?
Well, I was gonna say, I think George forgot to mention John and Lauren going to the Opportunities for Learning to talk about jobs in the
Yeah.
water sector.
His picture, I think your picture's. in
It was
the
on our
paper or
website.
It's
something.
on our
Yeah.
website.
Hmm?
Is that part of?
On the website, yeah.
That just happened a week or so ago, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I did, and you know, it's funny, I saw the post and
You were
in
out.
my, well, I saw John's standing up there and I thought that must have been part of the Chamber of Commerce, but I guess that was not. Is that correct? My error.
No, you're correct. That was part of the Opportunities for Learning outreach program that we took part in.
Was that part of the Chamber of Commerce program?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It's
Okay,
separate.
different. All right. So my apologies for not singling that one out. Thank you, Renee.
Right, so I understand we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, this is Renee West-Delusk. I have a question regarding that plot of land up in Inyo County. What's the status of the cleanup? And then the other question I have on that plot of land is, why does the water district need that land up there?
All right, that's, I believe, upcoming topic, Renee.
Yeah, John will talk about the cleanup. I will just say that we're analyzing our use of that land, and we're engaging with legal and looking at what agreements we have, and we're going to be bringing stuff forward to the board about the future use of that land at an upcoming board meeting, but will not be commenting on it today.
All right. Are
Okay.
there any other
Thank you.
comments? Thank you. Any other comments? Then let's move to item K, engineering update.
Woohoo, the most exciting update, right?
Of course.
Well, number one is the Indian Current CSD, so I'm gonna let Director Boyd give updates for the ad hoc committee.
So there's not a lot of updates. Just to remind everybody, the state board did come down and have a public meeting with CSD and invited participants from the community. The water district was there. The GA was there. April was there. April and I sat next to each other and shared notes. It was pretty clear what the California was demanding in this consolidation, and it was also pretty clear that the state was not comfortable with CSD remaining in a commanding role regarding CSD. So or regarding the district there. So they're pushing for a consolidation. We're hoping for a voluntary consolidation, which we've, I guess you could say, categorically failed at providing a detailed consolidation plan that the state would like to see. We have had exchanges with CSD. They've sat in on our meeting, one of our meetings here. I sat in on one of their meetings, but we haven't had an agendized consolidation specific focus meeting between the two groups since this edict from California was received this past summer. We're due to report out to the state, as I understand, later this month. Jim is committed to preparing a draft letter that Chuck and I will have a chance to review and make annotations to. And then we understand that the state wants to have a follow-on public meeting. It will probably happen sometime early next year. I'm not real sure when, but
Maybe April.
maybe April. At which point we'll find out more direction from them, since we may make some progress on the voluntary consolidation. There's still some time, right? They're hoping that we would be done by now, but I don't know if they have now restrictions on what we can do and agree to that they would override with the mandatory consolidation. So, so basically that's where we are. But we responded to their request for a JPA. We reviewed the JPA, and our board viewed the GPA as being tying our hands a bit too much. Rather than what we would prefer to see in a consolidation result.
I think that's a real good summary, Mal. The only thing that I would add is that the letter that came out June 6th that started the 6-month voluntary negotiation period, that ends on December 12th, which is Friday. And after that ends by December 22nd, the district has to submit an additional letter to the state board, giving a progress report of what occurred in, we'll go ahead and prepare it. It'll be a follow-up letter to the one that we sent to Inyo Kern, in essence, on November 12th. That's all.
Or December 12th. You said November. Oh, the
We
letter.
sent the
said
letter November
Got you.
10th, and then we owe one on December 22nd.
Okay. All right, Rademacher.
Okay, so for the second phase of Rademacher, we are still needing some easements. Jim and I had a discussion today about those, and we're going to have some further discussions later this week about how we want to approach getting those last 3 easements. Our construction crew wouldn't be available until they're done with their work on Brady, so probably the late spring would be the earliest we could get started on phase 2. And that's all I have for that.
Excuse me, the easements already exist, correct?
No,
Oh, okay, you're going to.
fortunately, there are not road easements out there either.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
How many easements
3.
are 5?
There's 5 total. We need 3 more.
And early start mid-April.
Early, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now, this is the one that we're working with the GA.
Yes, that's correct. This is funded by grant.
Microphone.
Oh,
See, I
yes,
thought
Mike.
they were gonna do all of the administrative work before we got involved with
think-
doing the actual work.
I think because we did the design, we put together all the surveying, the paperwork for the easements and the legal descriptions. So it's kind of fallen on us to follow up on those.
Okay. Is there
but-
a timeline?
I think it's fair to say it is a GA project. Renee and I have talked about it. We haven't been able to get these easements. We're going to meet later this week, see if there's anything further we can do. If not, then we will bring in the GA stand.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Because I know they have funding through, I believe, the end of next year. They might be asking for an extension of that, but we would like to get it going and get it done by the end of next year, calendar year.
All right. Dune 3.
June 3, we are, let's see, it's on Jim's plate right now, at least for the agreement between the district and Dune 3. Otherwise, we're moving forward with making some changes to the bidding package. That'll take I think until January. And then it has to go to approval by the state and the Division of Drinking Water. And then once we go out to bid, that takes a few months. So it'll be a little bit before the contract and the bids and things will come to the board for that, but it is moving forward.
Okay.
I was in contact with Brian Zagala, who is the owner of,
Dune 3.
Dune 3, and we told him we'd try to have him out the agreement by end of this week. One thing I got to do is make sure it passes Ty's litmus test, because the big thing is trying to how we're going to bring the building into the district that way. So, but we are working on it and hopefully have something for them to look at this week. That's all.
Yeah, Mr. Gazagala, I can't even say it, was worried about the timing of ending his billing and beginning our billing and how that was going to work. So,
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and ask the board if you have any questions about the consolidations. Okay. Public comments or questions? We have one person here moving to the microphone.
It's Judy Decker. I have a question. There was a humongous leak just west of Pinto Street on an unidentified street. It's not related to Dune 3, but I wondered if it was under the district purview, because the systems out there are so sporadic.
So Judy,
It was west of Pinto? Yeah.
there's another system out there that Bertrand owns, and it was his service.
And I had a comment on easements. We have, as you know, property out in the county. And the county has done over the years a terrible job of keeping track of properties where they are actually located and proper easements. And there are many properties in the county that don't actually have easements. There are dirt roads on them, but they are not legal easements.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right. Do you have anybody online? Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes, this is Renee West-Delusk. I just have a timeline question regarding the ICSD. So after December 12th, then the water district sends another letter to the state. Is that correct?
Both of us, both the water district and the CSD. Yes, that's correct.
The state of California is requesting a status report on the effort to have a cooperative consolidation, and the letter is a response to that request.
Okay, and then the meeting that Mallory Boyd was referring to, that's the same meeting that was talked about at the last water district board meeting in November, correct?
Yes.
Affirmative.
Okay.
Yes, my assumption, based on what the State Water Board had mentioned when they were here for the first meeting, was that it would occur something like 6 months after the first gathering. The first gathering was after the notification. That was a couple of months after. It was in September, right?
The public hearing, if I may, the second meeting, as I understand it, is that there was a meeting put on by the state board, October 1st or 2nd, whatever it was. And then this is just going through the process. December 12th, we're going to submit a letter, and then the state board is going to do whatever they're going to do. But if they're going to move on, as I understand it, if they're going to move on and order a mandatory consolidation, part of that process would require an additional public meeting no sooner than 6 months after the October meeting, which, as Mal indicated, probably puts us into April or something. That's all.
Okay. So this is going to drag on probably for a whole year until everything's decided about this consolidation.
I think there might be decisions that are made mid to latter part of next year, Renee. But I do believe the process will go on for years because it might actually involve a reorganization of the district into a different type of water purveyor, if you will. So as I understand it, the total process will be years long, not months.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Judy is moving back to the microphone.
Did the CSD ever get their well fixed?
So I can't give you a real current update on that, but as of the last meeting I sat in, they were still trying to fix it. That's well number 4, but I have not received a status on that, Judy.
All right. Then let's go ahead and move on to the Brady Street transmission pipeline replacement.
Okay. Oh, thank God that went up so cool. So the construction crew is getting ready to get started on this project. We've gotten the parts in. As George had mentioned, we hired our internal inspector. That's Arturo Magallanes. He's from the Water Supply Department. And that will, once he moves into that position temporarily, then that will give a great opportunity for some of our operators to move through the Water Supply Department and get some cross training. So that's how we're going to approach that. There are, so Arturo and also Justin, our associate engineer, went down to the Riverside area Thursday, Friday last week and got some training with an inspector with Krieger and Stewart. So I want to thank Chuck Krieger for making that arrangement for us. And they really enjoyed that and learned a lot. It was a very interesting project. So I was glad they had that opportunity. So they're raring to go. There's going to be construction staking by the surveyor with Krieger and Stewart on Wednesday. And then our crew is going to be getting started on Monday of next week over at the intersection of Ward and Brady and get that T installed there. That'll be the first thing they do. And then there will be a break for a couple weeks because of the holidays and a lot of people being out. And then after the first of the year, they'll be back out there again.
Okay. Any questions from the board? George, did you have anything you want to add to that?
I do. I want to say, whenever you stand up a new capability like this construction crew, it's a significant endeavor, and the effort by staff, both out back and out here in the front, and engineering and operations, their cooperation, and getting where they've gotten to this point, we're ready to put shovels in the ground, vastly exceeded my expectations for such an endeavor. And then I believe the construction crew and the efforts put forth by these guys are going to be ever more important to the water district as we move into the future, because that's our best path to repair many of the issues that we have and to do it in a cost-effective manner. So I'm really, congratulations and thanks to those guys for exceeding expectations.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, then we will move to L, financial update. Ty.
Yes, I guess we're looking at year-to-date water use now. I'm not sure if this was something George used to report on, but this is billable consumption through the fiscal year through November. 902,000 gallons were consumed. A note that in November usage was actually down 15% from the previous year. But with all the rain, I mean, you can imagine why. So, yeah, any questions on that?
Yes, I have a question. I appreciate the actual water to date number, because that's significant, obviously, because that means that has to do with how much money we're bringing in. But I would like to remind everybody two things. First of all, is you're talking about if we're down 15% from last month, but not the total, I'm assuming.
Not for the whole year, just last month.
Just last month, that's really 50% of 40%. It's not 15% of all of our income. I mean, our income is split 60-40 with the commodity being 40%. So if the 40% is down 15%, you're really not, I mean, yeah, it's not insignificant, but it's not
Yeah, and actually the rest of the, yeah.
Catastrophe. And, and I appreciate you putting it in here, but that basically begs the question as to where were we at this point last year so that we could have a comparison with a general income comparison between how much was distributed last year versus this year. So if you could add that next.
I'll
month,
add it
I
for
would
next month.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I want to say that's sort of why we put that in there, and I want to thank one of our board directors who suggested when we were doing the rate study that we should incorporate a factor that included the potential for continued conservation that would reduce our funding revenue. I think you remember that,
I do.
David, and I
Yeah.
want to thank you for that, and this is exactly why that was a great idea, and it allows us to move forward, and still have sufficient funds to do everything we want to do. So thank you for the suggestion, sir.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, solar site security update.
Yeah, so staff has installed the tower bases at the sites for the poles for the cameras. I believe we're waiting on a couple camera parts that are supposed to come by the end of this week. The first part of January, we'll be mounting those towers and the cameras ready to go for, I think, a mid-January start for the solar repairs on the other sites. Well 30's already done, that site's done, but the rest of them will be started in January, mid-January.
We'll be removing our temporary one then, once that's all in.
That one, we have a contract through March. And then
Okay.
that one will
All right, great. Thank
ship
you.
out, yep.
Okay. Financial reports and status.
Okay, so through November 2025, we have actual revenue of 8.17 million, which is slightly below the budget, about 284,000, most of that due to the reduction in consumption and some capital contributions. Expenditures to date, 7.65 million, which is 963,000 below budget. So our net is a positive 519,000, which is better than we anticipated being by $679,000. So even though
we're
our,
anticipating a shortfall and we actually have a surplus.
we actually have a surplus, we have reduced spending to offset the reduced revenue, yes.
Okay, thank you.
To date, capital expenditure is about 6.5 million, or no, 650,000, sorry. A small portion of that is funded by the bonds or grants. Debt service principal is 468,000. And then the GA fees paid to date, the extraction fee, we have paid $3.6 million. And the replenishment fee, 15,478,000, for a total of just over $19 million.
All right. Okay. Water Smart notifications.
We sent out 703 leak alerts in the month of November.
Okay. Turn off, turn ons, monthly data.
It's not on here, but we had 87 turnoffs due to delinquent bills, which is up, I think, 2 from last month. So kind of within the average for this time of year.
Okay. Meter installation.
So we've been doing our meter replacement program. Through this fiscal year, we have replaced 568 meters. I think about 300 of them were the Mach 10s and the rest were meter bases, which we're using up. As soon as we're done with the meter bases that we have, it'll all be Mach 10s, which are the ultrasonic, more accurate, less failure meters. So the guys are continuing to work on that every week.
Yeah, and I want to thank the guys. This is a say what you will do and do what you will say story. It was well over a year ago that we said we're going to start this program of systematic meter replacements, and they are doing what they said they would do, and it's going fantastic. And thank you for what your hard work is getting done.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys are good.
Great.
They're out working hard every day.
Yes, they are. Any questions from the board on item L? Are there any questions from the public on item L? All right, seeing none, we'll go to M, operations update.
Alrighty, so as you guys know, arsenic treatment facility 1 has already been offline. So this past month, we finished pumping arsenic plant 2. It produced just a little over 7 million gallons. We took all of our samples and it is now offline for us to start doing our general maintenance on the plant, which is winterizing it. So second item will be the heat map. It's updated to kind of show you where we've had some interesting leaks, but it also shows you where we've been replacing services kind of on the southwest side of town as well. Any questions on that?
This is overall amount of work, both repairs and enhancements.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Next will be our valve exercising program. So kind of a slower month. This past month, we had 55 valves churned, so 427 to date. That doesn't include when they get called out to shut down main lines for leaks. This is him just going out there and working some valves. So with all of the USAs and everything else that he's backfilling, it's been kind of slower this past month. So that will lead us into the USAs. We had a total of 174 USA North tickets that just give us over 1,589 tickets served for USA North this year, and 8 for USA South, which would give us 45, which is San Bernardino County. So anything San Bernardino County Road east, southeast is USA South. No-des flushing this past month. That led us into 15 after-hour call-outs from turn-ons, turn-offs, and some repairs. We had 15 service lateral repairs, which were behind sidewalks and a couple in the streets. 13 service lateral replacements this past month. So they're still coming in, and these guys are still getting out there replacing them as quick as they're coming in when we can. So some of them they've had to temporary fix, go back out there and pull them, or actually do a repair behind sidewalk. So we also had a hydrant repair, which is going to be leading into a replacement. Fire department called, the hydrant is frozen. They can't get it to churn. It's an old dry barrel. So we are now working on that replacement of hydrant over on Oasis. And we had one mainline repair on the 1100 block of Yorktown.
Okay, any board questions for item M?
I have one. Would you consider these kind of normal calls for service, or are there any things that popped up that made you concerned? Or
So usually in the wintertime, it's a little slower for repairs, but we've had some keep kicking in there this past month for going out there on the service lateral repairs. They haven't really slowed down a whole lot this past winter.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That sort of raises a question. These are after-hour calls. How many calls are there?
So the after-hour calls, they're kind of blended, which I can separate for you next time if you would like. The service lateral repairs, they're kind of blended in with the after-hour calls. So maybe half of those were repairs, and some were just doing a churn off for customers if they had a leak on their side or not.
Okay, are there any questions from the public? All right, seeing none, then we'll go to item N.
Sir, did you want me to touch on Inyo County real quick?
I don't see it, but yes, let's do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I gave you all a couple updated photos of Inyo County out there. Made tremendous progress. Everything in that wood pile is off of our property on the other side of the fence. We do have some tires that I do have to go back up and meet with Inyo County. The gentleman did say he would be loading up the tires and removing them. So we do have to go up there and double check those. There's about 36 tires laying around left. So, and then we found another spot where there's a couple more tires, which we will take care of.
There's the
So,
pile, yeah.
yeah, lots of good progress up there. So Inyo County will want to meet me up there next week is the plan, if all works out. And she's received photographs and a phone call from me. So she just wants to put eyes on it herself and do one more walk with us.
That's
Yeah,
the
big-
inspector. Okay.
Big thanks
Yes,
to Daniel County and their support they gave us and
Yes,
sort of pushing to get this done without costing us a ton of money.
yes.
And thanks to John for your leadership in getting all this done as well.
You're welcome. Thank you. And one more thing, we had another operator receive their Class B, so I'd like to congratulate Sergio Cazares on receiving his commercial driver's license.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations. Okay, we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, this is Renee West Lusk. So is there a timeline when the whole thing will be cleaned up? Like, do you have like a date you're trying to achieve by like the end of February that the land is all cleaned up?
I think it's done, Renee.
It's pretty much done. The goal was ASAP with Inyo County. So, but they have been they've been very nice working with us on this project. She hasn't rushed us. She just told us to do it as quickly as we can and make forward progress. So hopefully, this next trip up there, I could hopefully wrap it up with them.
Yeah, there's just the tires left, right?
Yes, sir.
And then what is the monitoring situation going to be? Is someone from the water district like yourself going to go up there every 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think it'll be
Survey it?
I don't think it'll be every 2 weeks. There is a department that goes up there and looks at the monitoring wells. And now that everybody's made aware of what's been taking place over the past few months, they will now be more diligent in driving through the properties.
And they go up there, what, monthly?
Yes.
So monthly, Renee.
Okay. Thank
But-
you.
But
Thank
not
you.
special trips. That's just an already planned trip. that
Right.
It is. They
just
check
expect
the
to do.
levels of various wells and whatnot and the usage at the farm that's up there.
Okay. Are there additional callers? Then we'll go to item N, Jesse Dollywall's retirement.
I'll let Renee take this one because you've worked with him for years.
Sure. Yeah, Jesse Dollywall is the engineer for the Tehachapi District for the State Water Resources Control Board Division of Drinking Water. He's been our regulator, well, at least the 20 years that I've been here. He's been with them though for 32 years. He founded that office in Bakersfield and pretty much hired everybody that works there, he told me. And he is retiring at the end of this month. So put together a letter. I put together a letter that's in your packet to congratulate him and thank him for his service. You know, we've always had a really good relationship with him and enjoyed working with him, so.
Any insight who's?
No, his supervisor, I think who's out of Sacramento, I'm not 100% sure, is going to be temporarily filling in for him until they hire somebody to replace him.
I think we would characterize him as tough but very fair.
Yes.
And that's what you really want out of a regulator.
Okay,
So if the board decides and approves the letter, or if they want to make any changes, so let us know and then we'll get that sent out.
does, any objections with the letter to the board? Have you had a chance to review? All right, then I'd say no objections from the board.
We'll get you a copy to sign, David.
Thank you. All right. That brings us to item 11, board comments and future agenda items. Once and future President Kaczynski.
There's not a lot to say. We're at the end of the year. I can't believe we're here already. So that means Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody here. And wish it please to all your staff and people in the field that I don't get to see. I wave at them as I go by and yell Merry Christmas to them. But thank you for all your hard work. And at the end of this year, we'll be starting another exciting year soon. And I look forward to continued progress we're making. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Vice President Griffin.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy New Year. I think the staff did a great job. Front, back, office, everybody's doing, I think the district's in good shape. I think we've got a well-balanced crew. Just thankful for everybody.
Director Boyd.
Yeah, as well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, New Year's. thanks for everything you guys do. You continue to amaze me, the stuff you pull off. And in general, it's right, always positive news. We've run into hiccups, but you guys have solutions for those, and they don't stay hiccups very long, which is pretty impressive for me. But anyway, it's been a pleasure working with you and looking forward to next year.
Director Rotora.
I think I read the same recent press release from the GA. It's now on the GA website. That Mike's not read. Basically, they're repeating all the misinformation that they repeated, that they've been saying for the last 2-3 years, including the fact that we just may run out of water in the next 40 years.
Stan, excuse me, you're talking about this open letter to the Ridgecrest?
The
Okay,
open
all right.
letter, yeah, yes, sir. My feeling is we've done a lot of work in the last 3-4 years. And we really ought to take credit for it. And if there's a way of us getting some type of a public relations release out over the next month or two that identifies where we are, what's our status, what we've done, where we think we're going and where we are, just to counter all the misinformation that they just keep flowing out, no matter what. You know, it's impossible to believe what they believe. In addition to that, I would also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, especially to the staff, but also to all of our ratepayers who are kindly give us the money to do this work every month. So thank you.
All right, thank you. So my final comments would be that I wish that every organization operated with as much transparency as the Indian Wells Valley Water District does. I'd also like to say it's been an honor to serve as president of the board of directors for this past year. I look forward to serving again next year as vice president. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas or a Happy Hanukkah and a very Merry New Year. So thank you very much. And with that, the date of the next board meeting is January 12th. And we will adjourn this meeting at 8:18 p.m. Thank you.